The governors were saying, no, it's against Section 162 of the Constitution that we should pay all revenues and share. We should give us our money. So I remember one day at the National Economic Council, I was making PowerPoint presentation on the benefit of saving for the rainy day. Saving for the rainy day. And then there's a governor, one of the states. Each time I see him now, even since then, I used to tease him. He said, Governor, Central Bank, give us our money. It is already flooding. It's already flooding here. And you are talking about the rainy day. It's flooding in my state. So what we're talking about is that while we can be talking, the elite will be talking about, oh, if you murder, there will be thousands who might get infected, they will die, and this and that, all kinds of postulations for hundreds of millions of Africans. They don't know if they will survive tomorrow. That's already the situation they are facing. For hundreds of millions, that's it. Their situation is they don't know if they will wake up tomorrow. And we are speaking for them about, oh, if you are locked, there will be this. In the morning, I had a show with the channels television. And somebody was saying, oh, you see, Ghana unlocked. And they had many infections. They now have more infections than Nigeria. And my response? Said they have 2,000 something. That example actually illustrated my point. You have over 2,000 infections in Ghana. How many deaths? 17. Okay. Put the counterfactual. I wish in Africa we collect data. I wish we collect data. Collect data about people who died even within 2 weeks or 4 weeks that they had locked down. Or those who potentially would if you had extended it further. Through other diseases because you compromise the entire system. So I'm just saying, the thing I'm trying to say to ourselves, because this group sitting here, we account for that, what I might call the privileged 2%. That privileged 2% whose account balances probably in excess of $1,000 total. Okay. And I want us to always, as we think of public policy, put ourselves in the shoes of this other 80-90%, whose what decides whether they will eat tomorrow is dependent on whether they get out there in the street and sweat. That's the balance we got to. So somebody says, "Oh, can we risk 3% of the population?" It depends on how you manage it. Sir, if you manage it poorly by getting the people lose their total immune system, of course, you risk it. In Nigeria already, you have 100 million malaria cases a year, but probably slightly over 300,000 deaths occur. Are we risking that? We're risking 300,000 something people dying. They're dying every year. In Africa, about 3,000 children die every day of malaria. So it's only when we put all of this in context, you begin to think about this lockdown thing. That's when it makes meaning, because then you realize that you are talking about lives. You are talking about lives. You are talking about hundreds of millions of lives at risk each day that you lock them down. It's not in the Western world. The Western world, people can have this luxury of the debate because you're not worrying as to whether Sainsbury's will be open tomorrow. No, that's not the issue. So I'm very passionate about this because sometimes I get it that it's a mindset, and it comes from, like I said, this is what we see everybody doing. But we're not relating it to the environment that we are prescribing it. Because when you relate it to that environment, or you find yourself in a village, You arrive in your village at this point in time, and the evening, about 2,000 youths and women descend on your village. They're looking for something to eat.